Okay, in this short tutorial I'll show you how I add sometimes physics effects to my rigid body effects. So here are the rigid bodies built in Blender version 2.66, and they're really a lot of fun. And but just by themselves, the shattering effect here that takes place, that's nice, but you can actually add additional features to the rigid bodies. They're really great that just didn't exist before. In fact, you could only do things like this within the game engine, but now this opens up a whole new feature set for us. So all you need to do is come into here. We have all these force fields you can put in here, so maybe I'll just come in here and press Shift A, and I can just add the force field right here. Maybe I'll just, I don't know, I'll just keep it simple. I'll use a vortex force field. Who knows what it does right here at the moment, right? And then here's my strength, so I'll just add it in, so when I run my animation, you can see it pulls it right to it like this. It's a powerful little tool, right? So not only is this thing, so it's a little bit strong maybe because now you don't see the shattering effect of the building, but it gives you a lot of power. So there's basically two primary programs that I'm working on with my natural disaster simulators right now. One, I'm doing a tornado game within the game engine, and then I'm going to work on a tornado simulator within the regular Blender render. Instead of, I won't use this vortex of course, but it kind of gives you an idea what kind of cool effects you can have in here, and you can animate these in here as well. So these are animatable, and then you can just quickly change them just to see what kind of other effects. Look at all these possibilities. Even how about just the basic wind? Let's see what the wind does. Which way is the wind's pointing? Straight up. Let me just rotate that wind a little bit. Let me see. RY, and I'll just crank up the wind a little bit. So now when, yep, there they go. So as you can maybe do a, well, who knows what kind of effect. Now notice this is another perfect example of one of the most important things when you do in rigid body work, whether it's in the game engine or within Blender render. See how fast these things are moving relative to these? That's because I have different mass settings set on these smaller objects. It gives you a boatload of control when you use the mass settings. Now though, it's important to know mathematics and some physics to be able to really take advantage of this kind of stuff, because otherwise if you just use random settings, that gives you one thing. But typically when I design a scene, I'm thinking of everything in advance. I'm thinking of the size of the objects and then the mass and the weight of the object relative to each other within the scene, the size of the objects relative to each other in the scene, the force that I'm going to apply against the objects, the angle of the objects, the whole 9 yards, because otherwise they kind of get mismatched throughout your scene by the time you get to the end. So that really requires a lot of planning in advance. But just wanted to point it out because it's pretty fun and powerful. You can do some really cool things, with these physics effects. I mean, even if I was trying to code this within Python, it takes a lot of extra work to try and do something like that. Let's see what this does here. Yeah, pretty cool, right? I mean, and of course then when you use mathematical textures in the background, who knows what it is. You can do all kinds of wild stuff within it. Okay, well that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next video.